all right. Man, y'all know it's late night. Let's get it. Last Thursday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It's time for real life relationship. And so, why don't you share this with somebody as we get ready to get started? I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about tonight. Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing? Put in the chat how you guys are doing tonight, how you're feeling, what's going on. We're going to take a couple of minutes and we're going to get started with part two of our discussion. Had some great feedback from last week from a lot of you guys. And so we talked about rules, red flags, and relationship standards, right? And I said, love me right or leave me alone, right? And so this is just, the discussion just about setting standards in our relationship, right? Having some practical rules, some and understanding some red flags. A lot of us find ourselves in situations because we don't see the red flags, or we don't acknowledge them. We see them, but we don't acknowledge them, or we will see an issue as something that is just simply an issue and not actual a red flag or a deal breaker. And so if you missed part one, make sure you go back and watch part one. All right. Because I'm telling you, I got a lot of great feedback about it. And it was just helping people to really identify red flags, things that sometimes people just allow in their relationship. And we talked about why some people allow certain things in their relationship, things that should be rules and standards that kind of get just swept under the rug, and things that are red flags or deal breakers where they get swept under the rug, and when life starts lifing and you're in this relationship, this marriage, and now you're facing reality of the brokenness or the dysfunction that you have in your relationship. And a lot of that stuff could have been avoided if we would have paid attention to the rules that we set from the beginning. If we would have paid attention to the red flags that were coming up, well, we kind of swept them under the rug. All right. And that we would have a standard. So again, if you missed last week, go back and watch that episode, because we talked about standards, we talked about red flags, we talked about rules. And tonight we're going to continue on this journey, just talking about the different rules that we should have set in our relationships, in our marriage, right? In our, wherever you are in your relationship, if you're engaged, great, because the thing is that you are at a point to where you can still hold off. You don't have to go into I do prematurely, right? If you're just dating, you definitely got a lot of time to be able to figure out, is this the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life, right? We don't want to do the Hollywood thing. We don't want to do, that's the culture of this world where we can get married and we don't like it or we're unhappy. We can get divorced and marry somebody else. No. Marriage is for forever, and we want to start with the end in mind. When you're doing anything, you want to start with the end in mind, especially when it comes down to marriage. You want to start with the end in mind, right? And so the end in mind is that, hey, we're able to stay together until the day that one of us ends up going to the Heavenly Father. You want to stay together forever. So you want to start your relationship with the end in mind. All right. So come on in. Come on, guys. Come on in. Make sure you share. If you're on Facebook, make sure you like this feed. Make sure you tag at least 5 people, and then make sure you share to your timeline. Okay. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then also make sure that you send this link out to some people, because I'm telling you, you want to be here for part 2. All right. You want to be here for part 2. Okay. You want to be here for part 2. All right. So you guys know we start out every week where we talk about healthy relationships don't happen by accident, right? They're built with intention, right? Healthy relationships That's what we're targeting. That is what we want to aspire to have. Healthy relationships. Not relationships that are up and down, emotional roller coaster relationships that are full of fear, insecurity, doubt, relationships that are full of lack of communication, lack of being able to resolve conflict. We don't want, that's not healthy. And so, in order to have a healthy relationship, we have to be proactive, not reactive. If we're reactive, we can't have a healthy relationship. If we're proactive, we can set the tone for us to be in position to actually have a healthy relationship. So, they don't happen by accident. Healthy relationships happen and they're built with intention. And so, we have to be intentional with building our relationship. So, again, this is real life relationship late night. All right. And usually I do a little bit different on late night, the last Thursday of the month. But since we didn't finish last week, we have part 2 to our rules, red flags, and relationship standards. Love me right or leave me alone. Y'all remember Ladera, leave me alone. Some of y'all too young for that. But Ladera, some of y'all remember. If you remember Ladera, put in the comment. My name Ladera. But Eric is smiling, boy, something else. That's when he came on the scene. So if you remember Lil Daryl, put in the comment section. You remember Lil Daryl, right? All right. So y'all ready? Let's put those emojis, my favorite emojis. If you're new, you might not know what those emojis are, but I have 2 favorite emojis. Let's put those emojis in the chat. Let's flood the chat with those emojis. Let's do it. Let's do it because I just love those emojis, man. And I love when I know people are listening and participate. So again, we're live on multiple platforms right now. So we're live on YouTube and Facebook, my Facebook, the church's Facebook. So wherever you're tuning in to, welcome to tonight to Real Talk. And so I'm your host, J to the B. And so I appreciate you guys supporting every week and coming in. So without further ado, man, we're going to get into part 2 of this. And so again, if you missed part 1, you want to definitely go back and view part 1. Part 1 is going to help you be able to really understand, as we're talking about rules, red flags, and relationship standards, what that looks like. Some of us didn't grow up understanding that. So when we got into a relationship, we kind of figured it out. We stumble into it, or some of us we still struggling where we don't understand. And the reality is that those are the reasons why we're struggling because we don't have rules. We don't have standards for our relationship. And we definitely didn't look at the red flags. And when the red flags come up, you got to get help. All right. That's immediately stop and reassess. And you have to pivot when a red flag comes up. Okay. All right. So let's get it. All right. I love my music, but I'm going to turn it off because it is distracted. So, all right, man. So let's get it. All right. So good to have you guys. Some of you guys just logged in. Make sure you guys, if you're on Facebook, to make sure you tag at least 5 people and share this to your timeline. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also make sure that you send a link to somebody, because I'm telling you, people need this, especially in the relationships in today's society. We need to understand how to navigate them. Okay. All right. So we stopped last week on rule number 4, right? We stopped last week on rule number 4. We talked about God never intended scripture to be weaponized to keep people trapped in abuse, manipulation, or destruction. All right. And so, a lot of times, in the church, we that's why a lot of people don't care for the church a lot of times, because they've had church hurt. People have weaponized scriptures, and some people have literally not stayed in their relationships because they have been with somebody that has weaponized scripture to kind of control and dictate and manipulate the relationship. Okay. And so we talked about that last week. And so if you miss it again, go back and view that episode number 1 of this real life relationship talk. Okay. And so remember, I said it: rules, red flags, and relationship standards. So look for that. It was last week. Love me right or leave me alone. All right. Leave me alone. I asked you guys where's that from? Some of you guys know that, but leave me alone. Who said that? So you guys put in the chat. Who said that? Who for you guys that that love comedians and different things like that. Who was the comedian that did that? All right, all right, all right. So let's keep it moving. Let's go to rule number 5. Okay, and I need you to lean in. I really need you guys to lean into this because this is very important. All the rules are important, but this one definitely is important. I really do need you to hear this. And again, this is for everybody. This is for people that are single. This is for people that it don't matter what level of your relationship you're in, what stage of your relationship it is in. This is for you. Okay. If my presence is constantly dishonored, hear me good now, my absence will become necessary. Hear me good. If my presence is constantly dishonored, then my absence will become keyword necessary. Necessary. And I need y'all to hit me on that because a lot of people they don't understand that. They don't they don't before they get into the relationship, they don't count the cost, right? They don't count the cost. And so shout out to the new people that are coming on, you guys. I did a video the other day, man, and it was about Saratoga and Saratoga water. So if you guys didn't see that, check it out. But man, it's like it's up to like 40,000 views and stuff on it. And something that turned out I was just going, going live because I was just kind of upset about what happened, and I wanted to tell my story. It's been something that a lot of people have commented on, and a lot of people have had a lot to say about. So go back and see that situation. So, shout out to all of our new viewers that are coming on for the first time. This is Real Life Relationship, and so I'm your host, J to the B. All right. So we're back at rule number 5. Ronald, good to see you on, man. Good to see you on. All right. And again, you guys can ask questions. You definitely can ask questions. You don't have to just listen to me. Put the questions in the chat. I can pretty much see all the questions because I'm connected to pretty much all of the social media platforms that are being streamed right now. So if I don't answer your question, then that's because I didn't see it, but I'll definitely return your question within this week, because some of the platforms I can't see, but it's like only like 2 of them. So, but those 2 usually people don't be on anyway. So the main platforms I can see. So if you put your question in the chat, no matter what your question is, I should be able to answer it. Okay. All right. So if my presence is constantly dishonored, my absence will become necessary. Matthew 7:6, do not give what is holy to dogs or toss your pearls before pigs, right? And so you guys know I like to give scripture and stuff like to back it up. So hear me good. Access to you is a privilege. Hear me good, y'all, because some of you all, your self-worth, like you don't value who you are. And if you don't value you, how can you expect somebody else to value you? If you don't think the best of yourself, then how can you expect somebody else to think the best of you as well? So we have to understand, and this is in the dating process. If your presence is constantly dishonored, then your absence will become necessary. It's necessary. You got to get away, for you guys that are married. If you're in this same situation, I'm going to say the same thing. Your absence needs to become necessary, which means I'm not saying divorce, but there needs to be where a person understands that they can't dishonor you. So it's to be like, look, if you cannot stop dishonoring me, we gotta separate. We gotta separate because I cannot stay in a household with being dishonored. And I'm gonna tell you something. For you guys that have been in that place, that is a hard place to be. You cannot function correctly in a house that is dishonorable. And fellas, because affirmation is very, very important to us, fellas, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk to you. Lean in, fellas, lean in. If you're with a girl or woman that is dishonoring you, your absence has to become necessary. Because the thing is that it tears you down as a man when you're being dishonored consistently, when you're under that type of heat. And men, what we can do, we can literally compartmentalized, we're strong, but what we're doing is breaking inside, and we can become shells of ourselves just by being around somebody that dishonors us. So if you're dating somebody like that, you got to stop and assess this thing. That's a red flag. That's a deal breaker. And it's just like, you got to tell them, like, hey, if you constantly keep dishonoring me, then I'm going to have to leave. Like dating. If you're married, it's the same type of situation, but it's more that, hey, we need to see a counselor. And if that's not working, then, hey, we got to separate. I'm not saying divorce, but we got to separate because they got to understand that there's a level that we have here. There's boundaries, as we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's boundaries that we've set in this relationship, and we can't cross those boundaries. Okay, if we cross those boundaries, especially with this one hurts. This one, when you dishonor each other, that one hits below the belt. And if it habitually keeps happening, you're gonna find yourself in some very traumatic and negative, toxic situations in your relationship. Okay. So we have to understand that access to us is a privilege. All right. We have to understand that. And when you're dating, everybody does not deserve unlimited access to your energy, to your emotions, to your body. Okay. And what I'm saying, like literally, when I say body, well, I'm talking about you all are dating. Y'all shouldn't be having premarital sex. Y'all shouldn't be doing that, right? And the culture said it's okay. But you definitely, nobody should not be having access to your body if you're not married to them. All right. Okay. So I know the culture says it's okay, and the culture says you got to test drive it before you buy the car. That's the culture. In the kingdom says do not do that. You know, is you don't have premarital sex. Apostle Paul put it, but he say it's better to marry than to burn. And so we're not gonna get into all of that. That's First Corinthians the 7th chapter. But the thing is, everybody, like nobody should have access to your body if you're dating. Okay, all right. So let's put that there. All right. Everybody does not deserve unlimited access to your peace. All right. Everybody does not deserve unlimited access to your loyalty. Y'all hear me good? Hear me good. Everybody does not deserve unlimited access to your time. Hear me good. So um, there's many more, but I'm giving you some of the big ones. Energy, your energy. What is energy? Like, the time, the passion, the drive, the stamina, all of the stuff that you put into a situation. That's the energy, your emotions, your peace, your loyalty, your time. These things everybody don't deserve access to. You guys got family members that you got to pay attention to, that they should not have access to you in some of these areas. Some of you all got toxic family members, and if you're not careful, like they will impede into your relationship, and they will literally cause you to be acting a certain way in your relationship. So you can't give everybody access to yourself. All right, because access to you is a privilege. I need y'all to understand this. Access to you is a privilege. So you have to think like that when you're dating. The people that you're dating, access to you is a privilege. It's just not, because you got to have self-esteem about it. Because some people that got low self-esteem, when somebody show them any type of attention, they just open up like without any type of like challenge or anything. It's just like they just give a person total access to them. That's not good, because when you give a person total access to you that quickly, a lot of times they're not going to appreciate the value. Okay. So people have to earn that total access, and nobody should have total access to you but God and your spouse. That's it. Like nobody on this earth should have total access to you. The only two people is God and your spouse, because the two shall become one. So you have to be totally vulnerable. But you should not have anybody else having total access for you. Because the thing is, just when it comes down to your body, right? Nobody but your spouse should have total access to that. You're right. Nobody else should have total access. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes down to total access to you, unlimited access, that the only person on this earth that should have that is your spouse, not even the person you're dating. That's why we be upside down in our relationships, because we give people total access before they actually buy the cow. They get in the milk before they actually buy the cow. So why should they buy the cow if they get in the milk? The whole point of the cow is to get the milk. So if they're getting the milk, there's no point for the cow. So why would I purchase a cow when I'm getting the milk for free? Some of y'all gonna be blessed by that. You find yourself continue to going in these same situations because you're giving the milk without them purchasing the cow. Okay, got to purchase the cow in order to get the milk. But society says no, you can get the milk. Don't worry about the cow. But the cow is what the milk comes from. And you wonder why you feel devalued. Well, why wouldn't you feel devalued if you're just literally discarding you just to get the milk? You're the cow. And so if you're giving the milk, there's no reason to worry about the cow, because I'm going to get the milk anyway. So I ain't worried about the cow. I don't have to purchase the cow. I don't have to invest in the cow because I'm getting the milk. And that's why a lot of us are struggling in our marriages and our relationships, because we have prematurely got the milk and not invested in the cow so that we could earn the milk or actually get the ROI, the return on our investment from the milk. When you get it free, you don't value it. We learned that as children. When you get the stuff on Christmas and stuff like that, you play with that stuff for the week, and the next thing you know, it been tore up by the next Christmas. You done tore it up, or you asking for something else that's similar to that because you done with that. We were taught as children not to appreciate and value certain things. This society teaches that a lot of time because it's about money, money, money. And so we grow up not valuing stuff that we don't work for or that we don't invest in. So when I just give it to you, you don't. That's why a lot of courses and stuff like this, people were like, man, you need to charge so people will value it. Man, you don't need to do anything free because people don't value it. So they got to have some skin in the game to value it. I'm telling you, that's why nobody really does nothing for free anymore. It's not the fact that they just trying to charge you. It's the fact that our culture literally has put a tag on free. If it's free, we devalue it. If we got to put something up for it, we're more focused, we're more dedicated, we're more committed. And it's the same thing with our relationships. If it's free, if we just be able to just walk in the relationship, have total access to anything, 9 times out of 10, that person is not going to value you. They might say they love you, but they're not going to value you. And you could put two and two together. Love is value. People can make their mouth say anything, okay? So we have to understand that. And so if a person is literally constantly dishonoring you, if a person is doing that, they're devaluing it, your absence will become necessary in order to get their mind right. All right? To get their mind right. Some people can get their mind right in counseling. Some people, they got to learn the hard way, where you got to exit their life and separate and be like, look, I'm not taking this no more. If you cannot stop devaluing me, if you cannot stop dishonoring me, then I have to make myself scarce. I have to exit stage right. Right. And that's the thing, until you can get yourself in order, because in order for me to be here in this situation with you, you have to honor me. And a lot of times those things happen because in the dating process, we gave too much access to that person in the dating process, and we didn't invest in the dating process. Let it yield to the courtship, then into the engagement, then to the marriage. We went from the dating process to marriage, and we skipped all of the investment stages, which means that why should I worry about the cow if I already got the milk? So if you feeling devalued, maybe because you gave the milk too soon. And now the person don't have to worry about you as the cow because they get the milk. That makes sense, everybody? That makes sense. Okay. All right. And this is what we got to understand. Sometimes people only recognize your value after they lose consistent access to you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it takes people to losing the access to you to actually recognize your value. And that's why in counseling, when I'm coaching couples and different things like that, is that there's some couples that I say, hey, you guys need to separate. You need to separate. Let's start out with 3 months, and let's go from there. Let's check in. And then, let's go 6 months. If we need to go 6 months, and check in. Most of the time, depending on the severity of the situation, I'm going to do 6 months minimal. Let's separate for 6 months. Some people don't want to hear that. But again, if you're married, if you're that dysfunctional, it's not going. If you guys are that dysfunctional where you can't climb out that hole together, then you have to separate and do it individually. All right. And so that's the thing. If you're not willing to sit down and be all in and be vulnerable to one another, then you got to separate and do it. But when it comes down to the dishonor, like that's a deal breaker. If you dishonor somebody, that means you don't appreciate and value them. And if they're telling you that and you still doing it, then yes, your absence needs to become necessary to get their attention, because some people do not recognize your value until they lose access to you. Amen. And while we never want revenge or pride, we want to have pride, we also cannot normalize staying where we are repeatedly dishonored. Because some people normalize that because it's what you saw your parents went through, your grandparents went through. Like it's what you saw. And so you just stay miserable, become a shell of yourself, not even able to function in society, just praying to make it through the day. Some people find themselves committing suicide because there is such horrible situations and conditions that God forbid they commit suicide because they just didn't see no way out. Okay. And so we have to recognize these things. Recognize when you're dating, that's the best time. But if you're married, you got to stop. You got to get some help. And if it's still not working, then you guys need to separate and let a leader lead you through that. And separation is not a divorce, but a separation is because that gets some people's minds right. When that separation comes, then they realize how much that person means to them. They get their mind right. Okay, now this person gone, so this ain't getting done. That's not getting done. You didn't appreciate it before. Now it's like, now you got to do it. Like, dang, like I ain't realized how they did, how this affected me that they did this. And so sometimes it takes some people to do that. But we cannot normalize staying where we are repeatedly dishonored. We don't want to normalize that. That's not normal, y'all. And in some people's relationship, they have normalized that because of how you grew up. You saw mama and daddy, we gonna love each other and just work through this. And they was just as dysfunctional and toxic as all that does. And they pass it to you. So you normalize like toxicity. You normalize being dishonored. You normalize it because that's what you saw growing up. So that's the standard that you have in your relationship, because that's the standard that was taught to you from the previous relationships of your mom and your pa or your grandparents, whoever raised you. We have standards that we have learned based upon the environments that we grew up in. But just because we learned those standards, that don't make them right, that don't make them healthy, that don't make them positive. Because those standards can be right toxic. Like I'm telling you, like I was in one of my counseling sessions, and they might come on, and I love y'all. I'll never say nobody's name, but this is nobody that attends our church. So for you guys who are like, oh, it's somebody in church, there's nobody that attends our church, because I see couples outside of our church all the time. All right. Because I'm on websites and different things as a coach in New Orleans, and counseling this and that. So people will look me up on these websites that actually have me counsel them. So, but this one couple, the wife was saying that because she was thinking her husband was cheating, and the husband said he wasn't cheating, but the wife was saying that, well, all men are dogs. They just know where home is. And I'm like, what? And so I had to sit back in a chair like I'm doing now. And I'm like, say that again. She said, all men are dogs, but they just know where home is. And I'm like, who taught you that? And so as we started uncovering stuff, guess what? That's who her dad was. So because the greatest man in her life, the most influential man in her life, was doing that to her mom, she automatically assumed that that's how every man is. So she had been dealing in relationships for a long time with understanding that all men are dogs. They just know where home is. So, which means it's okay to cheat, it's okay to act crazy, just long as you come home. That is stinking thinking, y'all. And so that's toxic. And so that standard is not healthy. To have a standard to say, hey, all men are dogs, so it's like you giving that man out to do crazy stuff. Long as he come home, we good. No, that should not be your relationship standard at all. That should not be your relationship standard. Okay. And so we have to be able to look at our relationship standards, what we were taught from the past, and are those things healthy or are they unhealthy? And that's why we do real life relationship, because that helps us to be able to navigate through these type of things, of how we were raised, the environments that we came up in, and how it has shaped the way we view things today. All right. All right. So hear me good, for you guys that may have to separate from your spouse, or you guys that may have to separate and like stop dating the person you're dating. It don't mean that you got to stop dating forever, but you got to stop and make yourself like absent, because that is a deal breaker. That's a red flag. That is something, if you're being dishonored, like you have to stop the relationship. If you're married, you probably have to separate. If ain't nothing else working, like if you went to counseling and it ain't working, you tried all these different things and tried, to do self-help stuff, and it's not working, then separation might be the key. And this is the thing, people, your absence is not punishment. All right. It's not punishment, because sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's protection, okay? Protection of your emotions, protection of your mental capacity, protection for you spiritually, protection for you physically. Like you're protecting yourself. All right. Because some people literally feel like they're losing their mind when they stand in dysfunctional relationships that are just draining them and literally taking the very life out of them, because all for the sake of we're going to try to make this work. But it's like when you hit deal breakers, you got to look at that and come to the reality and say, okay, like we got to put this in place. And if that don't be in place, then this is the result. We got to separate, because some people will not value or recognize your value until after they lose that consistent access to you. All right. We would pray that that's not the case for people, that you, with your spouse, you can give them consistent access, and because you're supposed to. But if it's not working, then we have to take a step back and reassess and pivot. All right. And so you got to get counseling for that. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Anybody? Anybody? All right. Make sure you guys put questions in the chat. All right. When you love someone deeply, you tend to ignore red flags in a relationship. You do, Rhonda. You do. People can when you get, and that's why you don't want to get into that place of loving somebody deeply. You want to make sure that you go through the dating process correctly. You want to go through the relationship process from acquaintances to I do to marriage. We want to go through that the correct way, because if we don't, we will be in a place to whereas we have loved somebody so deeply, we have become emotionally intimate at a level that they're not at. And so we ignore the red flags, because we're on two different levels. So that's why we want to go through the dating process the way it needs to happen, so that we can all both be on the same level as we go deeper into the relationship, so that as we get ready to go from stage to stage, we're both committed and ready to go to that stage. If we're not, we stop. If one person is ready to go, the other person is not, you got to stop and wait until they're ready to get to that stage. Because if you go into that next stage without both of you all being prepared, it's going to be a hard road to hold. It's going to be hard to navigate, because there's going to be a breach in your foundation, whereas things can come in and cause problems and havoc and make things very toxic. Okay. All right. All right. Let's get to rule number 6. Rule number 6. Rule number 6. Rule number 6. Chemistry without character is dangerous. All right. I want y'all to understand that chemistry without character is dangerous. Let me put that in the chat, because I really want y'all to hear this. Chemistry without character is dangerous. All right. Because we always be talking about chemistry. Oh, we get along so well together. Oh, I'm telling you, like, it's just, he just know me. She just know me. It's just like, man, we perfect together. Man, we flow so well together. No, like, that's great in this place. But attraction can blind people to major issues. When we put that attraction and how well we get along and all this kind of stuff, we can be blind to major issues that are literally brewing beyond the surface. They ain't at the surface yet, but they brewing. They brewing behind the scenes because we looking at the chemistry. Oh man, we match great on paper. Oh man, they do this. I love this. They love this. I love that. Like we look at, man, we match and you're blinded to major issues, right? And so somebody can be attractive, they can be charismatic, they can be funny, they can be ambitious, they can be emotionally exciting and still completely unhealthy for your future. I'm going to say that again. Somebody can be attractive. Come on, somebody. They can be charismatic. They can be funny. They can be ambitious. They can say all the right things. They can be emotionally exciting and safe at the same time and still completely be unhealthy for your future. Because even though you got that great chemistry, without character is dangerous. All right. Proverbs 31:30 says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised, right? Character matters more than charisma. Character matters more than what your mouth is saying, no matter how elegant you can make stuff look, how well you can put on and for the show. Character matters. And that's why we have to take our time because chemistry can happen like overnight, but character will reveal itself over time. People will show you who they are. You just got to see it. You got to wait to see it. You got to allow the opportunity because when we get together, we all want to put our best foot forward. That's why when you first meet somebody, it's like the best because it's like you both want to do the right thing. You want to appreciate one another. You want to impress one another. So it could be easily to have chemistry right off the bat. It could be easily be emotionally entangled with somebody right off the bat because it's a happy space for you. But don't get so caught up in that. Yeah, you want to be attracted to somebody. Yeah, if you charisma is important to you, yeah, you want that. You want somebody to be funny, yeah. You want somebody ambitious, you want somebody emotionally exciting, yeah. All those things are great. Those are attributes, but the character is very important, right? Because I tell people this all the time. Y'all tell people this all the time. Like, especially for leaders in the church. It's like your gifts, literally, your gifts will get you in a room. Your gifts will bring you onto a platform, but it's your character that will keep you there. So guess what? Your gifts and your attributes will get you in the relationship. It will get you in a relationship. It will get you to be meeting great people and smart people and successful people. Your gifts, your attributes will get you meeting smart people and great people. But it's your character that will keep you. That's what's going to keep you in that relationship. That's what's going to keep you. Who you really are. Because the longer you be with somebody, the more you're going to show them who you are. The more your character comes out. Okay. So chemistry without character is dangerous because you can have a person with all of this chemistry that we got so well together, but there's things lurking beyond the surface that ain't came to the surface yet that are very unhealthy for your future. Trauma patterns. Yeah, exactly, Ronald. People don't realize that is that chemistry can be created by inconsistent behavior. Yeah. Like you can have chemistry with anything. Like, I mean, say for instance, like me, let's take me and Lady B. Well, Lady B, this would never hurt, but I love basketball. Lady B ain't really care about basketball like that. So that was almost a deal breaker. That was almost a deal breaker. I'm like, like, man, you don't care about basketball. I remember I took her to the game when we was I think the Lakers was playing, Kobe was playing, We was at the arena, and so one of my good friends, man, he was like the vice president of ticket sales, man. So I could get tickets to the game at any given time. I can call him literally. The game started at 7. I can call him at 6:30. Hey, bro, want to come to the game tonight? How many tickets you want? Bam, he'll have Matt Will call for me. I'll go. We in the lower bowl. And I remember one time, I think it was Kobe, one of Kobe's, Kobe's getting coming toward his retirement stuff, and he was playing, and we there, and my wife was sitting there on Facebook. She for real, y'all, for real. I ain't even lying. This woman was sitting on Facebook while Kobe is playing. It be good. We're in section one, no 100s. She's sitting on Facebook, and I looked over. I said, "Excuse me." She's like, "Well, I don't really understand what's going on." I say, "Ma'am, you could have stayed home." I said, I could have brought somebody else. I could have brought one of the fellas from the church. Like they were like this right here is history. I just wanted to come out. Like, no, we could have went out tomorrow night. Like this basketball, this. So that's what I'm saying. So she ended up getting better, y'all. She ended up getting better about it. And she into basketball now. So, but I'm using that as an example because, you know, what if she was into basketball and I was so enamored by her being such a basketball, like, loving basketball that I fell in love with her loving basketball. But there were some character issues that have been dangerous, that was beyond the scene. And some of us have married the chemistry. We haven't married the person. We married the chemistry. We married the attributes. Some of y'all are in relationships right now where you married the person's attributes and not them personally. Come on, somebody. We need to be honest about this. Some of you all are dating somebody right now. I'm going to help you get free tonight. That your dating them had to do with their attributes and not actually them. Because newsflash, you like what they do. You just don't like them. Come on, somebody. Come on. Let's be honest. I'm telling you, we got people that are dating right now that they don't realize that what they like about the person is their attributes, but they really don't like that person. That's why you always 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Literally, because it's not that you like the person, you just like what they bring to the table. You like the potential of what they have. So some of us, we date potential instead of what we presently see. So we see the character, we see these attributes, and we're like, oh man, they got great attributes. Man, if they could see this, man, and we could do this, man, we'll be killing it. And you literally lock in to the attributes and the chemistry without locking into the character, which is the reason why some of you all in unhealthy relationships right now, because you locked into the attributes and you didn't lock into the character. You overlooked the character because the attributes were strong. And this is where the enemy gets us, because whatever deficits that the people in our family have, those almost become the deal breakers for us, even though they may not be real deal breakers. So if a person have the attributes that was missing growing up, we gravitate to that and we make that a big part of the reason why we with them, when it shouldn't even be a big part. It should be a small part of it. But because we lacked that growing up, we made that a big deal. So we marry people that literally give us what we missed growing up. And as a result, we struggle because we didn't take the time to really see their character. All right. That we didn't take the time to see their character. Is this making sense to some people? This making sense to you? And so we have to be careful with that. And if that's you, it's okay. Now it's exposed. If you married somebody and if you're dating somebody that you're now realizing that, man, a lot of me dating and a lot of my marriage or marrying them was the attributes they had on the table. They were attractive. They were charismatic. They were funny. They were ambitious. They were emotionally exciting. They were go getters. Like whatever that is. That's not their. You didn't marry their character. You married what they brought to the table. They brought these attributes to the table, but you didn't really like them. So now you got to learn to get to know them, and not only know them, but be able to accept them for who they are. And so that's what we have to deal with. That's all. You don't have to get a divorce. You're like, oh man, yeah, you're right. We had a lot of chemistry. We was good on paper. We was doing this, but then lifes and roles shift. And now when the roles shift, and now they can't provide that or they can't do that. Now we all upside down. Like some people that get married because here's a man that, I see it all the time, man. I see this, especially here in New Orleans, like Louisiana, because a lot of guys, you don't even have to have a great, because of Louisiana, there's so many jobs where you don't even have to have a college degree. You just got to get certain certifications. And one of those jobs is working offshore. There's great money in working offshore. Great money. Some people make six figures working offshore. Great money offshore, not show, but offshore. And so what happens is, these men that's working offshore, they making all this money. These women, they marry based upon that. And and then it's like what happens is you know, they good. But what happens when offshore don't work no more? What happens if they lose their offshore job or they can't get another offshore job because of whatever? Now they're straining a relationship because now it's like, oh man, like now I gotta hold down the family while you try to find another job. Oh, I ain't about that life. Or it's like the man like, well, I held you down. Now can you hold me down? I held you down for like 10 years. Now can you hold me down? And now if you don't want to, if you complaining about holding him down, that can cause some resentment. It's like, well, wait a minute, I held you down, didn't complain or do anything, gave you whatever you did, what you did. Well, no, now that I need you to hold me down until I get something else, now I gotta hear your mouth every day. See what I mean? So that's the thing. This is the example of what I'm giving you all, where people marry attributes or date attributes and their character is jacked up because that's a character flaw. Like you can't be like you can't enjoy this and when it stopped now you don't like the person. That's a character flaw. You can't love this person based upon what they give you. Like love is what it does. Love is not a feeling. It's an action. It's a response. I love, so I do. I love, so I'm going to get it done. It's not, I feel like it because there are days I'm not going to feel like it. But that's why love was never about our feelings, because if it was, nobody could love in this world. But that's why God showed us how to love by him giving his only begotten son. The Bible says, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Think about that. We were yet sinners, people far away from God, and God still sent his son, and the son still obeyed the Father and died for us while we were yet sinners. That's what love does. It leaves the emotion out and it gets the job done. That's going to bless somebody. Leave the emotion out, get the job done. You say you love, leave the emotion out, get the job done. That's what love does. It is what it is. Love does what it does, what it says. If you love, then get it done. All right. Amen, somebody. All right. All right. Let's go to rule number 7. Let's go to rule number 7. All right. And I've been hinting toward this. I've been hinting toward this for a few weeks. Right. And I said something tonight. Potential is not commitment, y'all. Stop dating literally somebody that literally could become while ignoring who they constantly are. Stop dating somebody for what they could become while you're ignoring what they consistently are. Right? Potential has fooled a lot of people into wasting years of their life. Patterns reveal truth more than promises. Patterns reveal truth more than promises. So we got to stop dating who somebody could be. Quote, could. We got to stop dating people based upon who they could be while we're ignoring who they constantly show us to be. Amen. I know this not one of those lessons that it's like, oh man, it's gonna make me feel good. Cause some of y'all y'all literally taking some, self inventory right now. Y'all looking like, man, some of y'all got married for the wrong reason. And that's okay. We can get through that. So this whole lesson is not to make you feel bad or make you feel like, dang, I'm hopeless and all that. No, this is that you're exposing the enemy now. Now you know where your problem lies. Now you understand where the unhealthy part of your relationship is coming from. Now we can stop and get rid of whatever that is. So we got to revamp. Some of y'all have to restart over and date again and get to know each other, because the way you came together under circumstances and not come together because you really truly love one another. Some of y'all get married because you got the woman pregnant. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. That is not a reason to get married. You could cause HELL in your lives and your kids' life because you marrying somebody just because you got them pregnant. Okay? You don't want to do that, because you can even resent them because of the fact they got pregnant. Or you can resent your kids because they remind you of the fact that, man, I didn't want to do this life anyway. So people struggle. So don't get married because you had a child. All right? That's the wrong reason to get married. You can literally co-parent a child, and they would be better off with the co-parenting than you getting married to that woman that you despise, but you want to do the right thing. No, the right thing is to make sure that you and that child be in a healthy place. That's the right thing. All right. But don't get married just because you got the woman pregnant. Ladies, don't get married because you are pregnant and because of your past where you might have grew up without your father. You want your baby to have a father. So you compromise to all things that you see as red flags. You compromise and you put it under the rug because you don't want your child to grow up like you did. If you trust God, God will have you and your baby. And if you get a counselor involved, God will help you guys be able to navigate how to co-parent in today's society. So don't limit your resources, and definitely don't limit God. So we got to understand potential is not commitment, because a lot of times, because of circumstances, we will marry potential and we would never marry what's present, because we keep looking, well, if they could do this, it's going to be great. And you may spend 20 years still looking on the other side of the grass, hoping that that person becomes what you see on the other side of the fence, which means that now they're feeling rejection because they have never felt that you've actually accepted them. Y'all see the snowball effect with that? Y'all see the domino effect with that? So now they feel like you've never accepted them, which you haven't, because you married potential. You didn't marry them, you married their potential. So they know that you married their potential, and they may say, well, I can never live up to your potential. I wish you would have been honest with me about that, because this is who I am and I can't be that. So now both of y'all stressed out because they stressed because they're trying to prove to you that they can be who you want them to be. And you stressed out because they not what you need. Come on, somebody. So we cannot marry potential. Potential is not commitment. Potential is potential. And if you see potential, keep dating until you can get to the place where it's not potential. It's like, okay, yeah, this can work. This can work because we done dotted this I, we done crossed this T. All right. Matthew 7:16 says, you will recognize them by their fruit. We judge them by their fruit. So that's the thing. Like when a person show you who they really are, believe them. Dr. Maya Angelou said that. So you cannot know who a person really is when you don't allow yourself to date them properly. All right. God can move mightily. God can speak to people, and he got to speak both of y'all. Like, hey, this is your wife. Hey, this is your husband. Like he did for Rebecca and Isaac, like literally that what happened. Isaac sent the servant. Isaac can't even go himself. Isaac sent the servant to the people's house to get his wife. Rebecca's right there, and the servant say, "Hey, I'm here to pick up Isaac's wife. This and that. We need to get going." Just like that. They ain't never seen each other. Isaac and Rebecca have never seen each other, never dealt with each other. But the Lord told Isaac what to do, and Isaac sent his servant. Isaac didn't even go. Isaac sent his servant to the house, and the man sat there. I came to get my master's wife, and Rebecca knew that it was her. And the parents knew that, okay, well, if this the Lord's doing, then hey, can you stay servant for a couple? Can we get a couple more days with our daughter and let's just have a feast and all? He's like, no, 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 no. We need to get going. And then Rebecca say, no, mom and dad, no, I need to go meet my husband. You see what I'm saying? So God can do that kind of stuff. He can do that, but God got to do that. But the key to that is both people got a word from the Lord. Not one person was maneuvering the other person to believe the word of the Lord. Again, Isaac never talked to her. She never talked to Isaac. The Holy Spirit talked to both of them. So they were on one accord, even though they didn't meet each other. Right? So that's the thing. God can do stuff that way, but he has to speak to both people without both people speaking to each other. Because if both people speak to each other about the will of God, then it can become manipulation. All right. So usually you don't want to do that. So you want to date properly so that you don't marry potential. All right. All right. All right. Couples check in. Y'all know what time it is. Couples check in. Couples check in. Couple check in. Check in with me. Check in with me. Check in with me. Couples. Now, if you don't have your couple, your partner with you, that's okay. You guys can go back and watch this on YouTube, watch it on Facebook, and be able to check in with each other. But I need you guys to really be open and honest. I need you guys to listen, to understand, and not listen to respond or to judge. All right. That is the criteria when we do our couples check in. Listen to understand. Do not listen to respond or to judge. Okay. So listen to understand. Don't listen to respond or to judge. All right. We don't want to do that. Okay. So I got a series of questions for you. You guys are gonna ask. If you're together right now, then you guys can look through it. You can talk about it. We're not gonna take much time. I'm just gonna give you the questions. I'm gonna put them in the chat so you can go back tonight and even talk about it. But I'm gonna give you some context to each one of them. Okay. All right, so couples, you're asking each other these questions. Miss Lakeitha, I see you. Ike, I see you too. I saw you on there too. Good to have y'all tonight. All right. So, do I feel emotionally safe in this relationship? Again, both people are answering this. All right. Do you feel emotionally safe in this relationship? And be honest. Be honest. Do you feel emotionally safe in this relationship? All right. Be honest. I'm about to put in the chat. I'm going to put each one of them in the chat. Okay. Do you feel emotionally safe in this relationship? That's the first one. Do I feel emotionally safe in this relationship? Second one, am I constantly anxious because of this person? The person that you're with. That's what that's about. Are you constantly anxious because of this person? All right. All right. Am I constantly anxious because of this person that I'm with? Okay. Y'all got it? All right, let me put it in the chat. Am I constantly anxious because of this person that I'm with? All right. And be honest, because anxious is, you guys know what it means to be anxious. Are you? This is for you guys that are dating and you guys that are single. You can ask yourself, was this you? Were you constantly anxious with the person you was with? Were you emotionally safe in the relationship? You can do that. Reflect. Because now going forward, you know that these are things that you have to have in place in order to have a healthy relationship. You got to feel emotionally safe. You got to not feel anxious. If you feel anxious, you got to get to the bottom of that. Why? am I feeling anxious with this person? All right. You got to get to the bottom of that. Number 3, is my relationship pulling me closer to God or farther away? Is my relationship pulling me closer to God or farther away? All right. These are the things you're going to ask each other. All right. These are the things you're going to ask each other. All right. And be honest with each other. Okay. Again, be honest. Be honest. Be honest. And when you be honest, like, take it. You guys that are receiving it, don't get offended. Take it. Take it and let's talk through it. Take it and talk through it. Do they respect my boundaries? Ooh, we've been talking about boundaries. We talked about that. Do they respect my boundaries? Do they respect my boundaries? Do they respect my boundaries? All right. Ask yourself that and y'all share with each other. All right. Do they respect my boundaries? That's big. Because if they don't respect your boundaries, why? Some of you all may not know how to set healthy boundaries. Your boundaries that you think is boundaries is manipulation. Remember we talked about that? We talked about boundaries and manipulation a couple of weeks ago. So if you missed that episode, you need to go back and watch it because we talked about boundaries and manipulation. And what's the difference? Because some people think they set boundaries, but they actually setting manipulation. They're being manipulative. So what is the difference? All right. So why don't they respect your boundaries? Are your boundaries manipulation or are they truly not respecting your boundaries? But again, you got to have this conversation. But sit down and you self-reflect first, and then you guys talk about what you guys wrote down. This is huge. Do they only change temporarily after conflict? You know, come on, y'all gotta be honest. Cause some of y'all in relationships where the person changed temporarily after conflict, then they go back to normal. So, like, be honest. And you have this conversation. Hey, like, I feel that you changed temporarily after conflict because when this happened, blah, 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 this is what I've noticed you doing. I want to ask you why does it seem like that's what's happening? See, this here, when you answer these questions, these give you opportunities for a dialogue with your spouse or your partner. It gives you opportunity to talk about some real stuff because these are things that are deal breakers or rules, or this will help you to be able to create your relationship standard. Again, these may not be happening right now in your marriage, but this is important because now we can implement these things. We can expose these things. And if you need help, reach out. Reach out. Reach out. Get somebody involved to help you. And again, like, it's worth it, y'all, to pay a counselor, a coach or something to do this because we'll go into the movies and we'll pay $40 or $50. But then when it comes down to getting help with a counselor, something like that, we won't pay. We don't want to pay. And it's just like at the end of the day, it's like, how can we go spend $40 and $50 for one meal, but we can't spend that, or a little bit more for something that's going to change the whole trajectory of our marriage, right? We won't spend it. And so it's like, well, it's like, some people, and it's one thing if the counselor want to do it pro bono, but that's the thing, let that counselor be the person that actually offer that. But you got to understand, like, every time, counselors see people, like, that's finances that either they can have for their family or that's finances they can't have for their family. So if counselors are doing stuff pro bono, like, man, y'all need to value that because the thing is that this is their livelihood. This is what they do. And if they believe in you, then literally understand that this is, something that, okay, we need to do the work. All right. But some of you all, you look for the counselor to do it. You ain't even gonna think about counseling unless you get it for free. And that's just, you don't go to the restaurant, looking to get the meal for free. So it's like, don't sit back and when you notice that these things are happening, you refuse to go do counseling because, well, I don't want to pay for it. You're going to pay in the long run for it, I can guarantee you. Because you'll probably look back, and if that ended in a divorce, and the Lord just tell you, like, if you were a counselor, it would have, because this is the thing. Like Kobe Bryant realized, God bless the dead, that it was cheaper to keep her. And y'all know what I'm talking about. It was cheaper to keep her because out there in LA and California, he ain't want to go through no divorce with Vanessa. No, sir, no way. Because it was cheaper to keep her because she was entitled. And so you think about, man, if he would have just spent $100 a session on counseling, they might not even ended up in that place. And God forbid they were divorced, she was entitled to half of what he had, millions of stuff. So you would have never paid $1 million for counseling, not 1 million. She was going to get 50, 60, 70 million, maybe more than that. So that's what I'm saying. So we have to prioritize these things. Don't look at the money. Look at it as an investment in your future. Okay. So some of you all that don't want to do counseling because you don't want to pay for it, but we pay for all this other stuff. Man, if you are noticing the red flags from this episode and last episode, you need to get counseled. All right. You need to do it. If you've never done it before, you definitely need to do it. Okay. And if you got to pay for it, pay for it. It's worth it because in the long run, it's going to be cheaper because you cannot get time back. You cannot, get children back. If you going through this thing with your partner, literally gets you to lose your child because your child don't want nothing to do with you because they're like, man, my upbringing is so stressful. And they just turn out. I mean, you look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and how they kids all over the place. That's because of all of the trauma and the drama that them kids grew up seeing, and we didn't understand it until she came out with the red table, red tabletop, whatever the word that thing called. And we got a chance to see how dramatic their relationship was and the craziness that they had going on. And you could see it in those kids because those kids are all over the place doing all kind of stuff and had all the money in the world, had all the opportunity in the world, but all over the place. Don't understand their identity, like all kind of, and y'all know Willow and Jaden, all of them, they got a lot of issues. And a lot of that came from the fact that their parents were dysfunctional, both of them. And it didn't get exposed until she started doing the table talk, red table talk, or whatever it's called, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to bring our children up in those type of environments so that it breaks our heart when we see the patterns they take after because of how we created the environment that was toxic. And it pushed them in different places that they should have never been in. All right. So if you see while you're doing this couple check-in or doing this episode, if you see certain things, go get help. If you've never gotten help before, go get help. All right. All right. Let's go. We got two more. All right. Am I in love with reality or potential? Am I in love with reality or potential? Am I in love with reality or potential? Right? Which one? Which one? Am I in love with reality or potential? And I use that because some of you guys that's going to come back through here and read this, if I were to put present, y'all be like, what do you mean by present? Am I in love with present or potential? You probably know. So I use reality so that for the ones that didn't see this and they go back and do the couple check-in, it'll make more sense. Okay? Because I didn't want to go back over all that, what present meant and what potential. We did that earlier. Okay? So am I in love with reality or potential? But in the book, I'm going to use present and potential, not reality and potential. Okay? Last one. Have I normalized dysfunction because I fear loneliness? All right. Again, both of you guys are asking yourself these questions. This is just not for one person. You both are self-reflecting on these questions. And then you're going to come together and talk about it. And you're going to listen to understand. one another and not listen to respond or to judge. You're going to listen to understand. That's the only way this works. But if you're starting to see a pattern, then you need to deal with it. Don't sit back and keep sweeping stuff under the rug. If you're seeing these red flags, if you're seeing that your relationship standards are not at the standard that it should be, like you cannot have a healthy marriage. You cannot have a healthy relationship if you're not intentional with creating what you want to see. But you can't create what you want to see if you're not learning how to create what you want to see. All right. Amen. All right. Let's get to the practical tool. You know, I give you guys a practical tool every week. Okay. I give you a practical tool every week. This is important. Okay. Give you guys a practical tool every week. All right. Give you guys a practical tool every week. There we go. All right. Ask this question. Who am I becoming while loving this person? All right. Who am I becoming while loving this person? I want you to self-reflect. Who am I becoming while loving this person? Because healthy love should help me to produce peace. It should help produce growth, right? It should help to produce stability, emotional safety, maturity, honesty, and spiritual growth. All right. These are the things. Again, you can add to the list. I'm just giving you some main ones. I could put about 30 on there. But what's these like these who am I becoming while loving this person? And be honest with yourself. Who are you becoming while you're loving this person? While you're in a relationship with this person? Who are you becoming? Is this relationship producing peace in you? Are you growing? Are you stabilizing? Are you emotionally safety? Are you maturing? Are you able to be honest? Like, are you growing spiritually? What are you becoming while loving this person? But here's the flip side. If loving them is constantly producing anxiety, confusion, insecurity, emotional exhaustion, depression, fear, instability, you need to stop ignoring what your soul has already been trying to tell you. You need to stop ignoring it. Stop pushing it under the rug because you should not be having yes, there are going to be times where you have conflict. But if your love is constantly producing anxiety, you full of anxiety, you anxious all the time. Every time you guys talk, it's always confusion, right? Like you don't feel safe around them. You're emotionally exhausted. You're fighting depression. You got a lot of fear. There's a lot of instability. These are red flags, all of them. And there's some more. But that's why I asked you, who are you becoming while loving this person? Because that's going to tell the tape of where you are. And if it's negative of what you're becoming, then you got to wake up. Stop ignoring what your soul is already trying to tell you and get help. And get help. You got to get help. You can't just sit there and keep praying. I'm going to tell y'all, look, because I'm a pastor. But you can't keep sitting up praying to God, Lord, I just need you to fix this relationship. Faith without works is dead. That's Bible. And we got to stop. God heard you the first time when you prayed it. But he needs you to move into action. He's showing you these are red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags. Now you need to go to the next step. Stop ignoring them. Get help. Deal with this stuff. Sit down and be able to have this conversation to talk about this stuff and get to the bottom of these things. Not just sitting up praying to me while ignoring and sweeping this stuff under the rug. You will literally be in a place where you've been praying and going to church and all that and still in a dysfunctional place. And now you want to blame God. God ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the fact that we keep sweeping stuff under the rug and we don't deal with it ourselves. He's showing you prayed. That's why the red flags are coming. There's all this anxiety, red flag. Always confusion, red flag. All this insecurity, red flag. Emotional exhaustion, red flag. Depression, red flag. Fear, red flag. Instability, red flag. Anger, red flag. All of those are red flag. Distrust, red flag. Stop ignoring what your soul has already been trying to tell you. Stop ignoring it. All right? A relationship should not require you to abandon wisdom to prove your loyalty. I'm gonna put that in the chat because I need y'all to hear me on this one. Let me put that in the chat. Some of y'all need to write this down. Some of y'all need to write this down. Hear me good. Write it down. A relationship should not require you to abandon wisdom to prove loyalty. It shouldn't. You don't abandon wisdom to approve your loyalty. Wisdom is the principal thing, but all you're getting, get understanding, as Proverbs says. God did not create you to survive love, everybody. He created healthy love to help you flourish. So he didn't create you to survive love. You weren't created to survive love. You were created to flourish. You weren't created. He said, my plans are to give you a bright future. The hope is not to harm you. So he didn't create you just for you to survive anything, especially love. He created healthy love to help you flourish, right? And when we put relationship standards in place, that is not us being selfish, right? It's not us being selfish when we have standards. When we have boundaries, that's not us being resentful and bitter about certain situations. So we're going to put this boundary in place. No, that's not what that is. And walking away from destruction is not failure. Some of y'all might think you failed in your marriage because you got to walk away and separate. No, you resetting, you revamping. Because if a person cannot honor you, even after you tried to get help, even after you talked to them countlessly, then you need to exit and separate. Because some people don't recognize your value until they don't have that access to you anymore. Okay. Some people don't recognize your value until they don't have that access to you anymore. And some people it take that. Some people it take that you got to get to that place where you leave in order for them to really see your value. So don't be afraid of that. Okay. Don't be afraid of that. Because walking away from something that is destructive is not failure. It's not, y'all. Because sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is stop calling dysfunction love. Stop calling dysfunction love, right? Telling everybody, I'm so in love. No, you so in dysfunction. That ain't love, that's dysfunction. When you got all that stuff going to confusion. God is not the author of confusion. Anger, rage, resentment, not able to resolve conflict, like emotional instability, distrust. That ain't love, that's dysfunction. All right. So we got to call it what it is, and we got to be willing to deal with it. All right. So this was not a episode where it was gonna make you happy, or this was an episode that's gonna make you think. And some people, it's hard for them to hear. You know, it's hard for them to hear this because this connects with them. This connects and it hurts. You know, because I'm telling you, like I've been seeing these numbers go up and down all night. So I know we've had people on and people off, and sometimes it's hard for people to hear the truth. But don't be afraid because some people get anxiety and it's like, oh man, I don't see myself disconnected from them because you got a soul tie and you can't see yourself pulling away from them. But the reality is that you can do it. If it comes down to that, where you done exhausted all the possibilities of making this work, there's nothing wrong with a separation to revamp some stuff and get somebody's attention. And most of all, for you to be able to heal. Because if you can't do it together, then you got to do it separately. But don't do it. I would say you do not do a separation unless you have a trusted leader guiding that process that you both are submitted to. If you do it on your own, I can guarantee you literally 8 times out of 10, it's going to end up in a divorce. Because that's what Satan wants you to do. He wants you to take it into your own hands, do a separation because you're not doing the right. You need coaching with that. You need, like, if I tell somebody we do separation, we put a plan in place before we separate. That's the thing. We don't just separate and play it by ear. No, we're going to put a plan. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to separate for 6 months. At the 3-month period, we're going to check in and see where y'all at. That's what we're going to do. At the 6-month period, then we'll see. Is it ready for you guys to get back? These are the things that we put on the table. These are our goals. So the thing is that literally these are the goals. And if we meet those goals, get back together. If we didn't meet those goals, we're going to put another 3 months on the table. We would go to all the way to a year. But after a year, then we got to come to the reality of the situation because it shouldn't take more than a year for people to walk in restoration and healing. Shouldn't take more than a year, right? You had a whole year to breathe, to heal, and get restored. And if in that year we still are not at the same, like on the same page, then we got to look at this thing and call it is what it is. And usually when we get to that, it's because somebody is not willing to be vulnerable, be all in, and work to be able to get this together. Because any relationship can work if people are willing to be all in, vulnerable, and committed to the process. Any relationship, it don't matter where it is, no matter what's going on. God showed me that, y'all. He said any relationship can work if people are all in, they're willing to be vulnerable to each other, and committed to the process with no excuses. God can bring you out of wherever you are. And so within a year, if we ain't at that place, then that means somebody is not wanting that relationship. And if that's the case, just like the Bible says, hey, don't keep somebody that don't want to be kept. Let them go. And you all that literally don't let people go and you know you don't want to be in that relationship, shame on you. You can't do that, y'all. You can't hold people hostage. You can't do that to people. All right? If you don't want them, let them go. Don't sit there and hold them hostage and you know you don't want nothing to do with them. You just, for whatever reason, you either tolerate the situation or you got your reasons why you're there. But if you still are in a place where it's like, I don't want this, I don't want to try to do this, and that, you avoid it. And don't just stay together just for the kids. All right? Because what'll happen is, it's like if you just stay together for kids and you literally just, have no hope, you don't even try. Now, that could be a great incentive to stay together. But if you're not even trying to connect, you're not even trying to resolve, you're not even trying, then it's like just staying there for the kids is not going to work, y'all. All right? Not if you're in a situation where I love him, he loved me. We had these great times when we were together. No, no. You can't live in yesteryear. The reality is what's happening now. Okay. So we can't live in yesteryear. The reality is what's happening now. So we have to be careful. Like we don't live in yesteryear. Well, we used to be like this and we used to be like that. Used to, coulda, shoulda, woulda. No, what are we now? And let's go from there. All right. So I just gave y'all about 3 different examples of what I've seen and faced in relationships and people staying together for all the wrong reasons. And it's like the main reason, all of those things are great in its place to help motivate you to stay together. Nothing wrong with that. No, nothing wrong with that. Hey, to want to stay together because of the kids. That's a great thing. Nothing wrong with wanting to stay together because of what we used to have. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with wanting to stay together because we up and down and this and that. And hopefully we can, we can get it together, because I see the potential. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is that we only stand together for those things. And we're not, while we're staying together, actually doing what we need to do to be able to get this thing on the right track. That's the problem. If we're just sitting there normalizing dysfunction, if we're just sitting there and just sweeping stuff under the rug, it's not going to get better. Okay. So we got to understand that. All right. Amen. So I love you guys. This has been another real life relationship, late night, a blueprint for healthy love, right? Because we understand that healthy love and healthy relationships don't happen by accident. They are built with intention. And so I pray that y'all enjoy tonight. But again, this was a deep lesson tonight. This was deep, okay? And so I don't want people to be sitting here ignoring red flags. I don't want people sitting here ignoring like standards. Like, okay, if the standard should be here, then let it be here. Let me see. All right, let me make sure. Let me put my camera back up so I can see myself. Because I put my hand. Okay, y'all can see my hand. If the standard should be here, then the standard should be here. All right, that's it. That's just what it is. The standard, if it's here, it should be here. Period. Period. All right. Period. Don't lower your standard. Lowering your standard is just gonna get you in trouble. You can have your standard here for your relationships. Now, if you marry somebody and you try to put the standard here, now y'all have to negotiate that. You have to compromise. You have to sit down and talk about that because you can't try to push somebody into a place they never was when you said I do. And see, that's manipulative. We can't make people be what we want them to be when we married them the way they were. That's not fair because some people, they are who they are. It is what it is. And I tell people all the time, if this person never changed another day, can you still be committed to them? And if the answer is no, then you ain't ready to get married. Because if you marry them by looking at the potential of what they have, if they never become that, you're going to be miserable because you were banking on the fact that they were going to become that. And you can't do that because the person has free will. You can preach to them, teach to them, literally write them a Bible, write them a book, write them a dictionary. You can do all that stuff and it still won't do nothing because at the end of the day, they have to have self actualization. They have to actual visualize and see themselves, come face to face in the mirror and see themselves for who they are and make the decision to do what they need to do, regardless of what you're saying. Okay. So I love you guys. God bless you. Great to have you on tonight. Oh, okay. I see Joy. I see the DeGrues. They done showed up tonight. Praise the Lord. Blessings to y'all. Blessings to y'all. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for coming on tonight. All right. But I love you guys again. Tune in every week. Again, every last Thursday, we're going to always be Real Talk late night at 9 o'clock Central Time. But all the other Thursdays, we will be at our regular scheduled time at 8 p.m. All right. So I love you guys. God bless. Appreciate you guys. If you guys would like to sow into my ministry, you guys will see that in the description. You'll see the way you could do Zelle. You can see the way you could do Cash App, JLBurton. So again, I appreciate you guys. God bless you. And again, let somebody know about this. Tell somebody about this, okay? Because again, I'm doing this. And if you guys that's been hanging with me, you guys know how beneficial it has been. And so you getting questions, you getting tools, all of that stuff, like literally for free. So again, take full advantage of this, all right? Because this is what I'm called to do. The Lord told me I need to start this podcast and this year, and I started in February. All right. So I've been getting a lot of great feedback from it. So again, make sure you guys literally tune in every week so you can get access to these things, okay? Because you want to get access to these things. You want to be able to navigate this. You want to be able to learn. You want to be able to see things and before they happen, before they become a problem, you want to be able to be able to ward them off. Okay. And that's the problem. We don't before once we realize stuff, it'd be too late. Right. And so we want to make sure we're able to deal with them as soon as possible. Okay. Somebody asked me about this. So okay. So I put it in the chat. Okay. All right. The ways that you can sow. And this comes directly to me. This does not come to the church. It comes directly to me. Okay. All right. So love you guys. God bless you guys. See you next week. Again, you guys submit your what you would like me to talk about. Nobody has done that yet. So I guess you guys are enjoying what I'm coming up with. But I would really love to be able to put something together based upon some of the things that you guys want to hear about, some of the things where you might be struggling. Again, I'm not going to let it be known who is who So it'll just be me and you that'll know who submitted it. But I want to deal with topics that is relevant to our audience. Okay. So take full advantage of it. All right. Take full advantage of it. So submit your questions, on either, Facebook or YouTube, personally go to my Facebook or my YouTube, and submit it. That would be the best. But if you're not able to do that, then it's fine. I'm missing my face. What am I missing? I just realized whose Facebook is that? Um, I'm just realizing I'm missing a Facebook tonight. Which Facebook is not connected? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to see which Facebook is not connected because Facebook is not connected tonight. Okay, so that might be the church's Facebook that's not connected. Okay, but the YouTubes are connected, so it's all good. So I'm on the chat. So if you're on the church's Facebook, I think I'm not seeing your responses. So I'm gonna make sure I go back to that. All right. But yeah, so for whatever reason, I don't know what that's doing that. So again, so I love you guys. God bless you. You guys have a blessed night tonight. And again, if you need, DM me. I want to be able to talk about what y'all want to hear. All right. All right. So I love you guys. Blessing to you guys. Again, this is real life relationship. This is the last Thursday of the month. So that's our late night talk. I'm your host, J to the B. Love you guys. Let's go build healthy relationships. All right. Good night.